Most English learners don't actually have just a language problem. The truth? A lot of learners are fighting many problems at the same time. Not just vocabulary, not just grammar, but also confidence, speaking habits, fear of mistakes, social pressure, bad learning methods, pronunciation, slow reactions, lack of real conversation experience, and sometimes not knowing what to say at all. And honestly, that is usually the biggest problem, because many learners already know a lot of words, a lot of grammar, even understand movies or YouTube videos. But when it's time to speak, brain equals empty. Someone asks, "How was your weekend?" And suddenly, how to say, wait. Your brain starts translating, checking grammar, searching vocabulary, building perfect sentences. Way too slow. Real American conversations move fast. Native speakers are not building perfect textbook sentences in their heads. They react, automatically, naturally. That's why many learners speak too slowly, sound robotic, answer too short, don't know how to continue conversations, struggle with small talk, don't know how to ask follow-up questions, can't tell stories naturally, and don't know how to express emotions or reactions naturally. But here's the good news. This problem is very trainable, and the solution is usually not memorize more grammar. The real solution is train automatic speaking patterns, train real conversation habits, train reactions. For example, instead of translating, "I am very surprised," Americans usually say, "No way. Seriously? That's crazy. You're kidding." Short, fast, natural. Instead of trying to create sentences from zero every time, you train useful speaking chunks. And another huge secret, you do not need to sound perfect. You need to sound alive. American conversations are full of reactions, energy, feelings, small comments, follow-up questions, storytelling, and casual rhythm. So in this lesson, we're going to fix problem number 1, not knowing what to say, step by step, in a natural, fun, real American English way. No robot English, no textbook conversations, just real speaking practice that helps your brain react faster and speak more naturally. Why do your English conversations end so quickly? A lot of English learners can answer questions, but they don't know how to continue the conversation. So the other person says something, you answer, and then silence. Honestly, this happens because many learners focus only on answering, not connecting. But real conversations are like playing catch. One person talks, then the other person throws the conversation back. And one of the easiest ways to do that is asking follow-up questions. Native speakers do this constantly. For example, I went to New York last month. Instead of just saying, "Oh, nice," they might ask, "How was it? What was your favorite part? Was it your first time there?" Very simple questions, but they keep the conversation alive. A lot of learners think they need clever or deep questions. You really don't. Most follow-up questions are actually very simple. Like, really? Why? How come? What happened? What was that like? How did you feel? And then what? These small questions create big conversations. Another important thing, good conversations are usually built through curiosity, not perfect English. People enjoy talking to someone who seems interested. Even simple follow-up questions make you sound more natural, friendly, and confident. So how do you improve this skill? Step 1. Stop thinking, "What should I say next?" Instead think, "What can I ask next?" That makes conversations much easier. Step 2. Listen for keywords. For example, "I started a new job." Keyword, new job. So ask, "How's the new job going?" Or, "I've been really tired lately." Keyword, tired. So ask, "Have you been sleeping enough?" This makes conversations feel natural instead of random. Step 3. Use easy follow-up question patterns. Like, "How was it? What happened? Do you usually do that?" What do you mean? How did that happen? These patterns work in many conversations. And step 4, don't panic about grammar. Friendly curiosity matters more than perfect English. Now let's practice. Listen first, then repeat. How was it? Now you say it. How was it? How was it? What happened? Now you say it. What happened? What happened? How did you feel? Now you say it. How did you feel? How did you feel? What was your favorite part? Now you say it. What was your favorite part? What was your favorite part? And remember, great conversations usually are not created by amazing English. They're created by simple curiosity. Listen, repeat, ask questions, and slowly, your conversations will start flowing naturally.
Why is it so hard to tell stories in English? A lot of English learners can answer simple questions, but when they try to tell a story, their brain suddenly becomes confused. They don't know where to start, what details to include, or how to continue naturally. And honestly, this happens because many learners think storytelling means speaking perfect English. But real storytelling is actually much simpler than that. Most native speakers use very simple structures when telling stories, usually something like this: what happened, why it was interesting, what happened next, how they felt. That's it. For example, instead of trying to tell a complicated story, say, yesterday I missed my bus, so I had to walk to work, and honestly, I was really stressed. Simple, clear, natural. Another huge mistake learners make, trying to translate a full story from their first language into English. That becomes overwhelming very fast. Instead, tell the story in small pieces, one idea at a time. For example, last weekend I went camping with my friends. At first, everything was fine, but then it suddenly started raining. Notice how simple that is. Short sentences, easy structure, natural flow. And here's something important. Good storytelling is not about difficult vocabulary. It's about making people feel something, like surprise, stress, excitement, awkwardness, or humor. That's why emotion words help so much. For example, I was so nervous. It was actually pretty funny. I honestly didn't know what to do. I was really excited. These small emotional details make stories sound alive. Another powerful trick, use time words, like first, then, after that, suddenly, eventually, finally. These words guide the listener through the story naturally. So how do you improve storytelling? Step 1. Stop trying to tell long, complicated stories. Start with tiny stories. Even 3 or 4 sentences is enough. Step 2. Use simple storytelling structure. What happened next, how you felt. That alone already sounds natural. Step 3. Add emotions and reactions, because stories without emotions sound robotic. And step 4. Practice speaking stories out loud, not just in your head. Storytelling is a speaking skill, not just a grammar skill. Now let's practice a simple story. Listen first, then repeat. Yesterday, I missed my bus. Now you say it. Yesterday, I missed my bus. Yesterday, I missed my bus. So I had to walk to work. Now you say it. So I had to walk to work. So I had to walk to work. And honestly, I was really stressed. Now you say it. And honestly, I was really stressed. And honestly, I was really stressed. But in the end, everything was fine. Now you say it. But in the end, everything was fine. But in the end, everything was fine. And remember, good storytelling is not about perfect English. It's about clear ideas, simple structure, and real emotion. Listen, repeat, tell small stories, and slowly, storytelling in English will start feeling natural. Why is it so hard to express emotions in English? A lot of English learners can talk about facts, like work, school, food, daily routines. But when it comes to feelings, their English suddenly becomes very basic. Everything becomes good, bad, happy, sad. And honestly, this happens because many learners study information English, but not emotional English.
But real conversations are full of emotions. Native speakers constantly say things like, "I was so stressed." "That was awkward." "I was honestly really excited." "I felt kind of nervous." "That was actually pretty embarrassing." These emotional reactions make conversations sound human and natural. Without emotion, English can sound cold, robotic, or distant. Another big problem: many learners are afraid of sounding emotional in English, so they speak too carefully, too formally, too safely. But emotional expression is a huge part of natural communication, especially in United States culture. People often connect through feelings, not just information. For example, instead of saying, "The test was difficult," a native speaker might say, "That test was brutal," or "I was freaking out during the test." Notice the difference. The second version feels alive. Another important thing: you do not need advanced vocabulary to express emotions naturally. Simple emotional phrases work extremely well. Like, "I was really tired." "That made me nervous." "I felt awkward." "I was so excited." "That was stressful." Simple, natural, human. So, how do you improve emotional English? Step 1. Start learning emotional reactions instead of only vocabulary lists. For example, instead of memorizing restaurant, airport, meeting, also learn excited, awkward, frustrated, relieved, overwhelmed. These are conversation words. Step 2. Copy emotional English from real speakers. Movies, podcasts, YouTube, interviews. Pay attention to how people react emotionally, not just what they say. Step 3. Stop trying to sound overly formal. Real spoken English is usually emotional and expressive. Like, "That was crazy." "I was so stressed." "No way." "That's hilarious." These reactions make English feel natural. And step 4. Practice saying emotions out loud. Because emotional speaking is also physical. Tone matters. Energy matters. Facial expression matters. Now let's practice some natural emotional English. Listen first, then repeat. "I was honestly really nervous." Now you say it. "I was honestly really nervous." "I was honestly really nervous." "That was so awkward." Now you say it. "That was so awkward." "That was so awkward." "I was really excited about it." Now you say it. "I was really excited about it." "I was really excited about it." "Honestly, I felt overwhelmed." Now you say it. "Honestly, I felt overwhelmed." "Honestly, I felt overwhelmed." And remember, fluent English is not just sharing information. It's sharing feelings naturally too. Listen, repeat, feel the emotion, and slowly, your English will start sounding more human, more expressive, and more natural.
Why do your English reactions sound unnatural? A lot of English learners understand conversations, but when it's time to react naturally, their brain freezes. Someone says, "I got the job," and the learner says, "Very good." Or someone says, "My flight got canceled," and the learner says, "Oh." Technically correct, but it doesn't sound natural. And honestly, this happens because most learners study grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation, but not conversational reactions. But real English conversations are full of reactions. Native speakers constantly say things like, "No way, that's crazy. Seriously? That sucks. I'm so happy for you. That must have been stressful." These reactions make conversations feel alive and human. Without reactions,
English can sound cold, awkward, or robotic. Another important thing, natural reactions are usually short, very short. Native speakers do not stop and build long, perfect sentences every time. They react automatically. For example, that's awesome. That's rough. Good for you. You're kidding. No kidding. That makes sense. Quick, emotional, natural. A lot of learners struggle because they try to think too much before reacting, but reactions happen fast in real conversations. That's why memorizing natural reaction phrases is so powerful. Another huge mistake, using overly formal English in casual conversations. For example, instead of, "I am very happy for your success," most native speakers simply say, "That's awesome. I'm so happy for you." Much more natural. So how do you improve natural reactions? Step 1. Start collecting reaction phrases. Not just vocabulary words, real reactions. Like, "No way. That's crazy. Seriously? That's hilarious. That sucks. I get it." These are conversation survival tools. Step 2. Copy reactions from real English content. Movies, podcasts, YouTube, interviews. Pay attention to how people react emotionally. That's where natural English lives. Step 3. Practice reactions out loud, because reactions should feel automatic, not translated. And step 4. Use emotion in your voice. The same sentence can sound completely different depending on tone. For example, seriously can sound surprised, annoyed, or excited. Tone matters a lot. Now let's practice some natural English reactions. Listen first, then repeat. "No way." Now you say it. "No way. No way. That's crazy." Now you say it. "That's crazy. That's crazy. That sucks." Now you say it. "That sucks. That sucks. I'm so happy for you." Now you say it. "I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you." And remember, natural English is not only about correct sentences. It's about natural human reactions. Listen, repeat, react naturally, and slowly, your English conversations will start feeling much more real.
And that's the end of today's lesson. Now, remember this. Fluent English is not about knowing the most grammar. It's about reacting faster, thinking less, and speaking more naturally. So don't worry if you still make mistakes. Even native speakers pause, change words, restart sentences, and say things imperfectly. That's normal. The goal is not perfect English. The goal is real communication. Little by little, your brain will stop translating and start reacting naturally in English. So keep listening, keep shadowing, keep speaking out loud. Even 10-15 minutes a day can slowly change the way you speak. And most importantly, don't stay silent. Because confidence grows through use, not through waiting. If you enjoyed this lesson, subscribe to English Learning Cafe for more real American English, storytelling practice, shadow speaking, and natural conversation training. And turn on the bell so your future English-speaking self will thank you later. See you in the next lesson.